Well, greetings, everyone. I'm Chuck Lewis, interim chair of the Department of Mass Media, and I'm so glad to see you here in Ostrander on this fine spring evening. What else would you want to do except be here in Ostrander, right? Each year, thanks to the Nadine B. Andreas Fund, the department holds its Media Day event, culminating in some sort of presentation here in this auditorium. It's always in here, and we'll often bring in big names or showcase big ideas. Well, that's a term around here, big ideas. And these types of events can draw huge crowds at times to MSU, and that can make the department look good in the public mind. Occasionally, however, we try to hold an event that is meant more for our students than for the larger community. And these are my favorite types of Media Day events, and it's that type of event we present to you this evening. We're hosting a panel of our alumni. These are relatively recent grads who are doing fine work out there in the real world. They're here to share their stories of what it takes to flourish in the modern mass media work environment. These are people who are making big names for themselves and who are truly engaging in big ideas. And they certainly make our Department of Mass Media look good in the public mind. So I'd like to introduce them here. We'll start on this end. Melissa Fair, email marketing specialist and entrepreneur, but email marketing specialist for Lifetime Fitness Corporate, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And next, we have Trevon Sellers, digital marketing specialist at Hamlin University, owner of a small design firm. Next, we have Kyle Radke, digital content manager for the Minnesota Timberwolves and Lynx. Next, we have Jessica Sauvé, media manager at Broadhead & Co. And then here on the end, we have Lamar Sullivan, marketing coordinator for Memorial Blood Centers. And I guess on the very end, we have our own Professor Rachel Hannell, who is also the Director of Interdisciplinary Studies here at MSU, and she is going to be our moderator and ask the tough questions. So.
Thanks, Dr. Lewis. And I'll mention I'm an alumni, or an alumna, right? Where's your AP style books? Of this program, class of 1997. So we're going back a ways here. So I do have several questions that I think will get us started, but I'm going to ask a couple of questions and I'm going to turn it over to the audience and we can kind of do a little mix here. So I want you all to be thinking of burning questions you might have of young mass media alumni who are working in the field now. But one question that I'd like to start with for each one of you, when you first came to MSU, did you say, yes, I'm going to be a mass media major? Or did you start in another field, and if so, what was that field?
So when I first came here, I was going for international business, and the math and econ classes were just far too difficult for me. I didn't do so well in a math class, and I just kind of reevaluated what I do well, and writing was kind of the thing that I did well, and so that's how I got to mass media.
I actually came in like a lot of girls coming out of high school and thought I was going to do nursing. And I quickly decided after a couple of weeks of human anatomy that I was not into science, and I thought I was just going to be walking into the office, typing on the computer, and talking to some kids and their parents, but that turned out not to be the case. So I switched.
Hello. Hi. So yeah, I didn't know that I wanted to be in mass media right away. I wanted to be in sports somehow, and it was pretty apparent when I was about 13 I wasn't going to be an athlete. And all my friends were, but it was a way for me to be around them and go to their games and whatnot. So in high school, I wrote for the newspaper in Cold Spring, Minnesota. Not a lot of competition for writing then. So yeah, and that kind of just flourished into working as a reporter here and continued my journey.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Hello, everybody. When I came to MSU in 2010, I actually decided to go into marketing. I wanted to go into business, and I quickly learned that the classes were extremely difficult, namely statistics. That was the class that kind of threw me out off my game, and that's when I got into studying, figuring out what mass media was, and I thought that was just a really great fit for me. And I actually did an interdisciplinary studies degree, so yeah, if you guys are kind of in between marketing or business or any other degree on campus and mass media, interdisciplinary is a good way to kind of mix them together.
I didn't know about that. Oh, I did not know I wanted to do mass media. I actually had that as a minor, and then I was like, well, it's gonna be a minor because you can't make a lot of money in that, and so I was like, econ, economics. That's what money is, I'm gonna be a major in that, like that's what I'm gonna do. And it was boring. Like, it wasn't me. And I was like, really mass media was like my backup plan for because that's what I really wanted to do, but I was like, that's not what money is. So I was like, I'm gonna do econ, but I was like, once I took the classes, and I excelled at the classes, but it just wasn't for me, and I was like, I couldn't see myself being happy in this isn't what I'm really passionate about. I'm gonna go for passion versus money, and if you go towards your passion, you'll make money in that, regardless if you're really good at it. So, yeah, I ended up being my minor in econ, but yeah, mass media was not my first choice. But I'm glad I changed it around and realized that.
We're glad to. I think that's a very common story. I think mass media is one of those majors, they call it discovery major, that maybe you're in intro to mass media, that class, and you realize, oh, that's what it's about. I had no idea what that was about. So I'm glad that most of you had that experience. I was like you, Kyle, like, oh yeah, I know that I'm doing this. Probably from 13. But I don't think that's the most common story. And thanks for the interdisciplinary studies plug. I didn't pay you to do that. But yes, if you're kind of, waffling on, do I do a major in this or minor in this? Wow, I'm really interested in a lot of different things. We do have that option. And I really like what you said, Louisa, about the passion. That's something I really, really try to emphasize to my students because you're not going to be successful if you're doing something for other reasons. And those reasons may be money, or those reasons may be, your family wants you to do that, and you're getting pressure like that, you might as well just do what you feel really passionate about, because then success is going to come out of that. I think a follow-up question to that is, so you all graduated with that degree, have some mass media experience. The jobs that you're in now, was that where you envisioned yourself being when you got this lovely diploma? And anyone can start. We don't always have to start with Omar, unless he wants to start.
No, it is. I did not see myself being an email marketing specialist for Lifetime Fitness. Actually, I wanted to go into more so PR, like the PR firm. I was in PR SSA, I was going to all the PR firms. It was like, I love PR, but then realized like all my internship experience was marketing. And that's what I really enjoy doing. But if you guys notice, if you're taking PR and marketing classes, a lot of it is similar information that you're learning, and it all kind of goes hand in hand. And that's why marketing was my minor, and PR was my major. And I just soon realized, like, oh, I kind of like marketing a little bit better more than PR. But you can go kind of either way. So I imagine myself being at a PR firm and as a publicist or something like that. But I realized, like, all my internship experience was all marketing, and that's what I actually really love more so than PR. So yeah.
I work at Hamlin University. I never thought I would touch foot on a university step ever again. So no, I didn't see myself working in that type of environment. However, I think, what I found out in my career is it's like a ladder. It's like you're gonna continue climbing, but I was also actually blessed to have 5 internships while I was on this campus. So I got to figure out what I liked, what I didn't like, and I quickly learned that the PR route wasn't necessarily for me, but I enjoyed learning some of the skill sets, and I use those today in my current role, and I think they'll play a big role wherever you're at, so.
Yeah, I don't know if I had a plan, really. Honestly, it was kind of graduate and then figure it out, and I was lucky enough to get an internship with USA Today, so I was out in Washington, D.C. for 4 or 5 months, and in my head, I was like, I'm gonna get a job anywhere I want, right? Everybody's gonna want me, because I'm this 22-year-old guy that works 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. on the sports desk. And then I came back and I got this sweet job doing chores at my parents' house for like 6 months. And literally I was applying anywhere and everywhere, and like, you know, thankfully the Wolves and Links job came up, and I was an intern there for a year, and it just kind of worked out perfectly. But yeah, I just kind of stayed patient and stayed the course, but I didn't really know what my plan was, because there was a good chunk of time there where there was really no plan at all.
For me, the answer is yes and no. I was in PRSSA touring all the firms, marketing agencies, PR agencies, and I knew that I wanted to be in that environment. I'm very outgoing, I love being collaborative, and I like the feel of being in a creative environment. So I did see myself in an agency. I did not see myself in a position that was dealing with data, because I had not taken a math class in college, and I had no idea how to handle data. But what I realized is what we call the engaged team is the sector of paid, earned, and owned media, which incorporates PR as well as marketing and advertising. And I really like seeing it all come together and figuring out strategic ways to reach different audiences.
Definite no for me. When I first graduated, I was looking for more of a radio position. When in my last semester here, I was working at KMSU Radio as a news director, and so I was hoping that I'd be able to either volunteer or intern at a radio station in the city somewhere, and it was very difficult to find anything, any kind of openings, so I kind of pivoted towards something in the mass media field, since it's kind of broad, and ended up with an internship with Hennepin County Communications. And once I started working there, that's when I started looking at more marketing jobs. And I had a friend that worked at Memorial Blood Centers, and so she just told me to apply for the marketing job that was open there, and that got me in the door, and I've been there for 2.5 years now.
All right, thank you. Something that I've heard a few of you just mention offhand, which is a question that I had as well, this involvement. You know, I've heard a couple of you mention PRSSA, I have the reporter, KMSU. So if you could describe what kind of involvement you had in school outside of your mass media classes, and this could be anything, like if you were in any other organization too. And for current mass media students or comm studies, marketing students, what do you recommend? Like, what kind of things do you recommend that they be doing outside of their classes?
I can start. It's my first day on campus. I applied at the Reporter, and we're kind of going through the roundtables today. I'm not going to say if you're in mass media, go work for the Reporter or where to work, but you have to find something you're passionate about. And I think if you put in the groundwork when you're in college, that goes a long way, and yeah, for your resume and whatnot, but also for your own skills, which is sometimes, you know, more important than that. So when you get to your first job and you're going to know how to do things, you're going to be connected with people, and like to this day, like, I mean, I graduated 5 years ago, which compared to you guys, I'm like a veteran up here. Yeah, right away they were like, alumni are coming, and I was like, 2012, like I'm going to be one of the young ones. And I see you guys, and I don't even know what you guys are talking about back in the class of 2015. But no, I think you need to find something you're passionate about, and like the MSU Reporter was something that when I was, you know, on campus, 95% of the time I was there, and like I don't think without that paper I wouldn't be nowhere close to where I am now.
Can you repeat the question? Oh,
Just like the involvement.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Anything that you want.
Like what? So yes, I was part of PRSSA. I was involved just as a member for the first 2 years I was here. In my last year, I was the vice president and secretary. I really enjoyed being involved. We would get out and go see the field. We would tour companies. We would talk to different professionals and gain their insight on what they enjoy about their careers and what they found to be the most beneficial in landing a career after college. And I thought that was great. Something I also did was I was a supervisor of ACES, which is an after-school child care program that I'm sure a lot of you have heard about around Mankato, but I gained so many skills there that I'm totally not working in marketing or mass media at all, but having that managerial experience and knowing how to deal with different situations and communicate with parents and other staff really proved to be beneficial when I was looking for a job and having to use those roles in the real world.
I actually had quite a different experience. I met a nonprofit organization as a senior in high school. Their name is the Brand Lab, and their whole goal and their mission is to get diverse students into marketing and creative jobs and industries. So meeting them, they had internship opportunities, hence why I had 5 internships from freshman year of college to the day I graduated. They connected me. I interned at Olsen Creative Agency in Minneapolis, Tunheim, which is a PR firm in Bloomington. I interned at Fallon, which is another creative agency in Minneapolis, and I had a couple internships on campus throughout my experience here. So I would say I was heavily involved and always connecting the dots, always looking to meet different people that were in jobs that I wanted to get to. I also was the vice president of the marketing club when I was on campus here. So I would heavily encourage everybody to get outside of your little bubble and try to make the most out of this 4 years, 4 or 5 years, however many years you're gonna be here, for sure.
How many years? Yeah, so my internship experience is pretty vast as well. Before I decided to switch my major to mass media, to switch from economics, it was a big deal to me. So I wanted to get an internship experience, unpaid internship experience in the field of social media and marketing, and to see if that's what I really love to do. Like I knew I kind of loved to do it, but I really wanted to make sure to get that experience first before switching. And I loved it, and that's how I knew that I was making the right decision. And then when I switched over to my major, like I loved all my professors. I was like excited about class. Like I'd come home and tell my roommates like about what I learned in class today. Like it was so lame, but like to think about it. But that's how much like I really loved what I was learning, and that's how I knew I made the right decision. And so then after that, I had like an internship almost every year. I had I think like 4 or 5 internships as well. The first one was with, before I switched my major, was with Skyway Theater. And that's like downtown Minneapolis, Skyway Theater, Barfly. And then after that, the next summer, I was doing, and during that same summer, I was doing marketing for Farmers Insurance. So this is so funny because I already had this marketing experience before switching my background, switching my major. And then I was a marketing intern for Canterbury Park and Shakopee, racetrack and casino, and I loved that. And I came back and did marketing for Farmers Insurance again because I loved it and they loved me. And then semester after that, I was a reporter, news writer for the MSU Reporter, and I chose that because I was like, well, I like interviewing people, I like talking, and I like writing, so why not? And then taking Rachel's class, we had to, what did we have to do? We had to interview people, yeah. And it just so happened that the guy I was interviewing, he was like the host at one of the radio shows over here. And I was like, and he was like, you should come back. And I was like, oh yeah, of course, I would love to do this. And so that was kind of another internship experience as well that came about just from taking Rachel's class. And it's just all about the connections that's amazing within this department that you get to gain. And then after that, I was, at the same time, I was a marketing internship at Visit Mankato as well. And also was doing marketing for other small businesses in the cities as well. And honestly, I had so many different marketing internships I can't think right now. But yeah, get the experience. My mom was like, you're doing another marketing internship experience? I was like, yeah. She's like, you you already have like 4. And I'm like, well, I just want to get more experience. And when I'm ready to graduate, I want to already have a lot of experience, which sets me apart from other people who may not have that experience. So I think it's important to get that experience. Also, I was in PRSSA, I was a member for 2 years, and then I decided to be the tourism speaker and chair for the tours. And I wanted to get that position because I'm gonna tell you a secret. I wanted to make those connections with the HR managers. So they really knew my name because I'm the one setting it up. And that's a little trick. And it really just gives you really good experience to really go out in the field and see the jobs that are available, see if you can see yourself working at those agencies or firms. And it's just really good to put yourself out there and meet people and make those connections.
I had 4 internships as well. I had the Skyway Theater internship as well. I didn't really like it that much. So I did that. That was my first internship that I had, and then I worked for the media relations office here for about 1.5 years, and that was fun doing just editing and posting press releases on the website. And then I had the KMSU internship over the summer of my final semester, which led into being news director for that final semester. And so that was helpful in meeting James Gullickson, who's been a great help for me, a great resource for me as well. And then finally the Hennepin County Communications internship, which my supervisor there ended up being one of my mentors that I still reach out to when I need help or need advice or anything. So I think having those internships helps you build relationships and build those connections with people that can help you along the way. Maybe they might know someone in a position or might know a position that you would want to go into that might come open, and they can let you know that you should apply or let you know what you need to do to qualify for that position. So just going out for as many internships as you can during college and then right after college as well will help bolster your chances of getting a job.
I think I just heard a lot of heads exploding, thinking, 4 internships? Oh my gosh. But that is something that we recommend within the department, that you have as a mass media major, you have the internship that you need for credit to graduate, but absolutely, like all of those that you can do besides that, the unpaid ones, the ones for credit, or not for credit, just, get as much experience as possible. I would like to turn it over to the audience, because I know that we have lots of students here who have questions of themselves as well, so raise your hand. Don't be shy. Okay, Michael.
In your individual opinions, what has been the thing that you learned going to school here that's helped you in your careers the most?
Okay, I'll just repeat that. So what is the thing that you learned here while going to school that you think has helped you in your careers the most?
I would say that professional communication. I think that that's a key player, and a well-written email is just as beneficial as a well-written press release when you are entering the marketing field in today's world. And I think that our professors here do a great job at setting you up for success that way. And honestly, as much as this sucks to say, meeting deadlines. Like those homework deadlines you have, they're no joke when you get to the real world. You have to make all your deadlines. So I think that that's, in hindsight, really beneficial.
Bless you. Thank you.
I would agree with the deadline part. Working at KMSU Radio and putting the story packages together for the daily newscast, it was really a hard deadline. And so if my reporters couldn't make a story or something, then I would need to figure out, I would have to plan ahead and figure out how I'm gonna get a story to go on air that day. And so that put a lot of pressure on myself, but it was good. It was good practice for where I work now, where that's kind of a big deal, meeting those deadlines and making sure that the work is complete and adequate to the standards of the company.
For me, I would say definitely writing. What I found out, there are a ton of people in this world that have college degrees that are terrible writers. And after leaving this university, I found that I'm actually a pretty decent writer, and I'm able to do some copywriting. And when you're able to bring that certain skill set to an industry, you're more hireable.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think it's PR writing, the name of the class. That AP style book, it is handy. I remember my first big girl marketing job outside of college. I had it at my desk because I was writing press releases, news releases, and doing advertising things. And you want to be accurate with how you're relating whatever you're trying to say to the public. And it has to not just be opinion, it can't be biased, as you guys know, it has to be facts. And just having that experience from PR writing of how to really do it, it really propelled me and put me ahead of other people and who was interviewing for that job. And they told me that because I had to take a test to see my grammar and things like that. And if you go to different PR firms and interview, they will make you do tests as well. So you kind of want to make sure you're going over that AP handbook, make sure you're acing those quizzes, acing those tests, because that is the real world. Also deadlines as well. That is a sure thing. I think that it's important that you use these skills that you're doing every day. You might not think they matter right now, but they do. It's giving you the work ethic for after this college experience to meet those deadlines, be professional, show up. Not just show up, but be prepared to learn and just gain everything that you can from the classes and from the professors as well. They have so much experience and knowledge that they can share with you as well. So that's the biggest thing.
I think communication skills, and as a department, the mass media is one that you could always go to a professor and have a conversation with about whatever it is. And I'm sure it's the same way when I was a student, that you're kind of with the same 30 to 50 students going from different classes, so you're constantly talking to each other. Communication in the workplace, as you guys probably would agree, that it's just so important because you're going to work with people that you don't like. You're going to have bad days, but that doesn't change anything at work. You still have to finish your projects and get done with everything. And if you're the person in the office that is snippy some days or can't get along or sending rude emails or whatnot, that's the thing where it's just try to communicate at a high level. Obviously, you're in mass communication or mass media, so you have those skills, and that's the one thing that you have to use them, obviously with your work, but you also have to use them just in a professional setting.
Thank you, good question. Other audience questions? I know you have some. Oh, I see a hand back there. Yeah, is that Jay? Yeah, hi Jay.
How often are you on social media while doing your job?
Do you mean for the job or just kind of checking it, while they're working?
I suppose both.
Okay, well, just social media in general while you're working. What's that look like?
I'm actually, believe it or not, not on social very much. With the occasional check of a tweet or Facebook, but I'm not on social that much. I'd actually like to hear Kyle's answer.
Yeah, literally all the time. But more so because you're working for the Timberwolves for links, and I have on my phone I get notifications for all the NBA insiders. If a Woj drops, I'm seeing if it's about the Timberwolves, because we know that if something happens, we have to prep for it and put content together for that. And oftentimes the reporters outside of the organization are the ones informing us. So, one of my friends is texting me about, is this trade going to happen? And I'm like, where are you seeing this? And I'll look and it's another report. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. But so constantly just to kind of do some research on some of our work.
I would say I almost always have Facebook open on my computer, or LinkedIn or Twitter, whatever, for work purposes most of the time. But I scroll on my phone, look at social media a couple of times a day.
Yeah, I don't need to be on social media for work, but I'm on it a little bit more than I should be for other reasons. But we have a social media person, so I don't really need to be on social media for work at all.
Yeah, I don't need to be on social media either. The only main channel I'm really on is Instagram, and I'm on there like various times of the day just for a quick checkup or anything like that for my personal brand, but I'm not doing it for my personal account at all, really, except for maybe in the evening. So at work, not too much. When I first started in the career field, maybe it was like too much, and coming out of college, like keep up with your friends. But after that, you just focus on what you got to do at work, and you're busy, and so it doesn't become as important at all.
I'm gonna add something too. Like I mentioned, I had 5 internships, so one of my biggest fears in being a professional person is having my boss come in and I'm like on Facebook typing to my friends. So yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Good advice. Was there another hand somewhere? Jonathan.
Yeah, so in the time that you've been working in your areas of work and whatnot, have there been any big changes? Like, what big changes have you noticed?
Big changes at work while you've been in your position.
My company loves change, so we change a lot. One thing that we recently changed is we're a full service marketing agency, so we have our creative department, we have our Engage, which is PR and paid media, and then we have our account teams and production, etc. And so we used to be so siloed as teams, and recently we changed to have 3 different teams based on clients as well. So every morning for the first 15 minutes of the day, we stand up, we go around the circle and say what we're doing for the day, if we have any roadblocks, and if we need to shift work around at all to make workloads more even, then we do that. And I think that that's been a really beneficial change so far.
A big change at Memorial Blood Centers is 2 years ago, we were acquired by New York Blood Center. And so they are kind of in charge of everything now, and everything runs through New York. And so that has kind of made making decisions at the top level take a little longer. Getting paid takes a little longer. Our payroll system is different and a little confusing. So dealing with that has been a little difficult, and then managing the messaging behind that has been a little bit difficult, but it hasn't been too crazy, just because we are pretty much the main marketing team of the enterprise, which consists of a bunch of blood centers around the U.S. And so being that we're the main marketing team, we pretty much stayed the same. And so we haven't had much change on our team, but just the higher up things and decision making has been a little difficult.
I think, first off, in the mass media world, everything's changing every day, right? And I was talking to Chuck before this, and you're being asked so much more than what you were being asked to. I remember when I was 23, starting with the Timberwolves, it was just writing, and now it's, can you edit this podcast? Can you edit this video? And these aren't skills I had, so you just kind of continue to add on. As far as specific work, if any of you guys follow the Timberwolves, we've had about 12 seasons in one this year, with the Jimmy Butler fiasco to start the season. And since I've been there, we've had like 6 coaches, so it's always changing. And that's kind of sports, right? And that's why you do it, because it's so unpredictable. Earlier, somebody asked, what's an average day like for you? And it's kind of cliche, right? But it's like every day is so different, and you have no idea when news is going to come. So everything's constantly changing.
That's a good point, Kyle. I think, in this world, in this space, things are changing daily. But I'll say one of the interesting things that changed at my organization, we like to change office spaces every 6 months. So we're able to sit with other people in the organization. We get to know them. We're able to collaborate with other folks. And I think that's just a really good way to get out of silos and not just be like the same 2 or 3 people every day.
I think that the biggest change at Lifetime that we're doing is not being so salesy. It's kind of changing the way we do marketing. I guess they're pretty much old school and just like, join Lifetime, join now, join, here's an offer, half off. And we're kind of changing it to be more personalized and giving them the members or leads or anybody really just good content about living a healthy way of life. And that's important because it shows you as an authoritative figure, and you're giving people value that makes them want to build that relationship with you. And you're building the relationship with them by giving them valuable content, and then you bring in the sale. So we're kind of switching the way up. We do all of our marketing. That's personalization, and that's like 2019, 2020 of like a lot of marketing agencies, a lot of marketing companies. That's where they're shifting. It's personalization and the data. Your data is everything right now. Big data. That's what everyone's saying. That's the hot word right now. So yeah.
Mario, did you have a question?
Yes. How would you define mass media?
How would you define mass media?
I kind of mentioned this before, but I would say it's the sector of paid, earned, and owned media. So you own your social channels, you own your website, and you own any media that a company owns. And then you pay for media. You pay for advertising, you even pay for social ads, you pay for commercials. And then you have your earned media where you are pitching the news and writing press releases and trying to get media coverage. And I would say it's the sector of trying to reach an audience via all those different channels.
That was really well said. I would say that mass media pretty much is relationships between the public and businesses and organizations. I work in digital marketing, and what that looks like, we work with funnels. So we would like to have different touch points throughout the life cycle of a potential customer. And we want to reach them in different mediums. So we use mass media to do that. And a lot of folks here in the room today might be journalism or PR focused. So mass media means different things to different sectors.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like if that's an emoji, that's like a head explosion, right? Yeah, like for us, it's not so much, it's kind of an umbrella. So I work with a lot of writing and photos and videos and whatnot. So in my mind, I kind of narrow it down to that, and then like hearing you guys, and it's like there's so much more. So yeah, the opportunities are kind of endless.
I would say that mass media is vast. You have PR, you have the marketing aspect you can do with mass media as well. You have journalism, you have broadcasting, and those are all the different channels that you can reach people, that you connect to people. You can connect through social media, you can connect through paid ads, you can connect through PR, and that's earned media, and just different ways to connect with people. And that's the biggest thing about mass media, connecting with people through the different channels that we have in today's world.
I would say the same thing as everyone else. Just reaching, how you reach people, whether that's public relations, writing press releases, or through social media, or through print media, or digital media, just any of those mediums where you reach people is kind of what I put in mass media.
Rachel, I would like to hear your definition of mass media.
Wait, you don't get to do that.
I'm not a student anymore.
Really, it is what you all said. I would probably think of it in terms of like what Kyle was saying, like you have not only print, but just everything, and all of those things you're expected to do as somebody working in mass media, that it's digital and photos and video and podcasting and that type of thing. But I really like what Jessica said too, because I think that applies to almost anything, because, even Kyle at the Timberwolves doing something more kind of journalism, well, you're looking for that earned, you're looking for that earned coverage, and you're probably gonna pay for some, and you obviously own it too, so I think every place has a little bit of those three combinations as well. And then, people, it's like, you can write as great as you can write, but if you can't communicate with people and have those people relationships and do that, it's all for naught, So thanks for turning it back onto me.
I have to add, I think that the biggest thing is for any organization or business is to find which channel is your audience on, and how to best connect with your audience, and which channel is best to be able to connect with them.
No more audience. Were there other questions? I feel like I'm neglecting this. Don't want to neglect this area. Is there? Yeah. There.
What would you say is the most important skill that we as college students could acquire now in relation to each of your fields?
Most important skill you can acquire now in relation to each of your fields.
Networking. Learn how to network with people. It's not comfortable, it's time consuming, but it's so important. The connections you make with people you meet at college, your professors, they're great for recommendations and helping you find your way. I know Ellen Merja helped me get my internship in the admissions office here. And then reaching out, stalking people on LinkedIn, connecting with them, making phone calls, meeting up for coffee. Any way you can connect with someone in a company you're looking to get into or a field you're looking to get into, that's definitely gonna push you and get your foot in the door before someone else's is.
I would say writing concisely, being able to get your message across in as little words as possible is a big deal in the mass media world, because with the shorter attention spans these days, you gotta really get your message across within seconds. And so the more concise you are, the better you'll be in conveying your message to an audience.
Yeah, same thing. I think writing is so big, and because we've all had an email, right, from somebody where there's grammar, their commas are misused, and they're totally, and you look at it and you kind of lose respect for that person, and you feel bad that you feel that way, but that's just natural. So I think just learning how to communicate, especially writing, because you're going to send a million emails in your life. Make sure you know how to send the correct one.
I would turn it off. No, turn it on. I would say your work ethic is one of the best skills that you could have that will carry you on after college. Are you showing up on time to class? Are you actually putting in those extra hours to study, to learn, past what your professor is giving you? Are you really engaged in trying to, learn more about your field that you're in? And that goes off of when you're out of college and a real world experience. Are you, on time early for on time and early for work? Are you skipping classes, or are you skipping days at work? That it all ties in to the same thing, your work ethic.
I have a quick question for everybody in the room. How many people have Facebook? Like, show of hands. Okay. Instagram, Twitter. Okay. One of the biggest skill sets I think we should all learn is social media. Not just the power of being a user and writing concisely on it, but also how to target people on social media. That is a big space to move into, and there might not be classes here on this campus dedicated to showing you how to do that, but learn how to do it. I think when I was on this campus, I was learning. I knew social was going to take off even more than what it was back in 2012, 2013, 14. Learn social, learn digital. If you guys all probably have laptops, learn how to do some coding. Learn some of the basics of the digital era. This is what all jobs are looking for, and people like yourselves. And the fact of the matter is you're competing with everybody in the room and people outside of this room. So people at U of M, St. Thomas, Hamlin, even across the country and around the world. So try to learn some of the skills that are just relevant in this age. That's my biggest recommendation.
Yeah, Facebook has great courses for free. I think Google Analytics has great courses for free. If you can get some sort of certification put on your resume, that's definitely going to stand out, because a lot of people at entry-level positions don't have that.
Can I ask a follow-up regarding the networking? Would you suggest in-person networking, or do you think like LinkedIn or reaching out to somebody, via social media? Is that okay, or what do you think is the most useful type?
I would say LinkedIn is a good place to start if you don't know who to connect with. You can find someone who works at that company, who previously had the position, etc. But then ask them to grab coffee. I mean, people in this field are used to networking. They're going to be more than happy to grab coffee with you or grab lunch and give you a peace of mind. Another way is to do a phone call if meeting in person isn't a possibility, but having that voice-to-voice conversation is going to be more beneficial both ways. It's easier for them to get their points across, and it makes a different sort of connection when you're really talking to someone.
And I'll also add to that, we are your network. Each and every one of us on this panel, we are an extension of you guys. We were in your seats just not too long ago. Connect with us, network with us, get our contact information. We work in this industry. We know tons of people that work in this industry. We want to see you guys succeed. You guys are awesome. So connect with us.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to think about the places where you do that. Start small. So you're starting here at MSU, and like you said, your professor. It's a good place to start. And then alumni. We have 5 here today, but if you go on LinkedIn, it's pretty easy to search for other people who have also graduated from MSU. That's a natural connection. I can't imagine reaching out to an alum and they'd say, oh no, I don't want to connect with you, You have, think about those places where you instantly have something in common with people, and the fact that you all are here at MSU and the alumni are from MSU, that's that natural connection. And then things like conferences or tours. You're in PRSSA and you're going on tours. That's kind of like that next level. But start where you are is what I would do. What other questions? I think we'll go back to Michael since. Oh, there's one over here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start here and then we'll go back to Michael.
So I was going to ask about Facebook and Instagram. So basically, Facebook is becoming more paid use for corporate companies to share their posts. So similar to that, Instagram's also changing their algorithms, which users don't like at all. So how do you guys deal with those two problems? Like on Facebook where you have to pay more, and on Instagram where they're changing the algorithm?
All right, the question is Facebook, Instagram, maybe other places are changing algorithms, always changing the way they operate. How does that affect you? How do you deal with that?
I'm just going to opt out right now. I don't do any social in my organization. But I feel for you just in a personal usage. I want all my friends to see all my dope content, and they can't, so it's tough.
I'm with him here, but I will say from a content side, so all the content that we publish on the website we'll give to our social team, right? And sometimes our content won't be shared on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is, and that kind of irks us a little bit. We want our content out there, but then when they explain to us why something is a waste of time putting them on one platform, because it's going to perform better on another one, it makes sense to us. And I still don't exactly know, what it is, but I trust them. So if that helps anybody.
Yeah, it's important to have a media mix. I mean, you need to have social advertising as well as search or email or traditional print, magazines, etc., to really reach the intended audience. But as annoying as it is to see all those ads on Facebook and Instagram, you're being showed up for a reason. It's based on your behavior, on the person you are, what you're looking at online, and so it's all about how to reach that audience. It all goes back to the people you're connecting with and how to connect with them. So you really have to think strategically about how to reach them and have a good media mix to make sure you're getting there.
Like I said, I don't do much in social media, but I know our social media person does have to monitor. When we do boosted posts, we have to make sure that there aren't too many words in our photos that we post, because those don't reach as many people as just a photo without words. And so those are the kind of things that we have to keep track of and make sure that we're not doing too much of that in order to reach as many people as possible.
I would just say stay up to date with all the different changes and listen and watch the different podcasts, the different articles that they provide that shows like new updates and new changes that goes on with Facebook and Instagram. Because I know out of college, I took a social media marketing certification course to learn about Facebook ads and how to do it and how to do Instagram and things like that. And it's changed so much since then, and that was just 2 years ago. So you just always just have to stay up to date on everything. And I don't personally do social media marketing for Lifetime Fitness, but I work closely with them, as email marketing and social kind of goes hand in hand. And they just have to change with the algorithms and giving the audience just valuable content, valuable things that they want to read and they want to see. And I do all the social media marketing for my personal business, and it's still continuing to grow. But I do notice when there are glitches in the algorithm, and I just move around and then I just figure out, all right, what can I do? What time should I post? And just Google. What are the changes that's going on with the algorithm, and how can I stay above that? You know, how can you just rise above all the different changes and don't let it affect your reach? Don't try not to affect the engagement, and just stay on top of it.
All right, Michael, do you want to ask a question?
My last question is, what advice would you give to students going into their first internship?
What advice do you have for students going into their first internship?
Take in as much information as you can. Ask as many questions as you can. They're there to teach you. Well, at least the majority of the people that I've worked with are there to teach you and help you out and give you pointers on what you might need going into the future. And so just ask as many questions as you can think of, and they will know the majority of the answers. Or if they don't, then they'll pass you off to someone else who might know the answer.
My recommendation would be on time. There's nothing like an intern that runs late. And in my first internship, I was late all the time. I was just not showing up. So I would say just show up, be the person that you would want to hire, right? And also be curious. I know they have projects for a lot of interns, but ask to do something more. Ask to do something you're interested in, and they'll usually say yes. A lot of organizations have a ton of work that they would love to delegate to an intern, but if you're not curious or hungry, you'll never be able to touch that work. So be curious, ask questions.
Yeah, I think show up for work, which is just a big part of any job. And then I think be personable. And I talked about communication before. Like obviously do your job and learn everything you can, but communicate with people in the office, get to know people. Because those relationships, you're also networking, right? Because down the line you might need them. Just be nice. And I mentioned that before, but we've had interns, the Timberwolves and Lynx, where they might do a great job, but they just don't fit the culture. So I think that's the biggest thing is be nice, be personable, be somebody that people want to gravitate towards and talk to.
Yeah, I would agree to both of what you guys said. I think one of the biggest things is, of course, to show up. It would also be to make those connections while you're there. Learn from them as they have experience in doing what you want to do. And always be curious. I said as the ADC, always be curious to learn more, always be curious to do more. And if this is what you're passionate about, step up to stand out, because there are other interns that you may be interning with. To stand out amongst them, ask your manager, your boss, whoever you want to call it, ask them like, hey, is this something else I can do? I'm interested in this. Can I help out with this? That's going to set you apart. And they're like, oh, wow, she is, she really wants this. Also, another thing is just be a good person. Just have a good personality. I know with all of my internships, like I had wanted to be hired just because of just my personality. They say, oh, she fits the culture. So, if you're interviewing for an internship, just don't answer the questions very dully. If you're passionate about it, show that passion. They want to see that. They want to see that you're ready and willing to learn and help their organization too.
Yeah, I would reiterate what all of these guys said. They were very good answers. I would say that getting a job in an agency is really like 50% your resume and what you bring to the table, and 50% your personality and your culture fit. So really don't come with rehearsed answers to every interview question, and show some personality and passion there. Also, be a go-getter. Do not ever be found at your desk not busy. If you're not busy, there's something to do, there's someone to help and figure out who that person is.
kind of going off the internship question into the job question, job search question, what would be your number one job searching tip for students, whether it be just that initial, oh, I'm looking for a job, what do I do? Or anything like interview tips, or anything like that, anything that has to do with that job search process.
Don't get discouraged by no's. You might hear that a lot in getting started and looking for jobs. Either you reach out, you apply for a bunch of places and you don't hear back, or you might go for a couple interviews and think you did great, but they don't think you did great, and so you don't get the job. Just being persistent in that job search and just staying at it and just knowing that there will be a job that will accept you. You just gotta keep trying.
I would reiterate networking and making connections, but I'll sound like a broken record. So instead, I would tell you to connect with your interviewers. Look them up on LinkedIn or online before, figure out in your interview what sort of things that they seem interested in, and try to connect with them on both professional and a personal level, because they're gonna be spending 40 hours a week training you, answering your questions, all of that sort of thing. So they want someone that they can really enjoy being with and click with. So I think that's equally as important as all the stuff on your resume.
Stay the course. Be patient. Don't be discouraged, like you said, 'cause that's huge. Because and then I also think stay level-headed, because like I said before, when I got done with my first internship, I thought I was the king of the world. Like I could get a job anywhere, and then I was so disappointed, and I probably had an attitude that interviewers didn't like, right? So I think just stay the course. You put in the work. You know what you can do. Eventually, it's going to work out. It might not right away, and it probably won't. So I think just be patient with my biggest advice.
My advice would be share your resume with your friends, with your parents. A lot of the time, I was applying to jobs, and I had never shared my resume with anybody except for the hiring management. And you need other people to look at your resume. Your resume is never perfect. And then also, as far as interviewing, be yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not, or don't try to put on a facade, because they will see right through that. And one of the biggest shifts for me in my career, I heard a lot of no's. After graduating from Mankato, I moved to Las Vegas. I heard a ton of no's, and I'm thinking I had 5 internships, and I thought I had quite a lot of experience. I quickly found that it wasn't a lack of experience. It was in fact the way I was interviewing. I was reading my resume to the hiring staff versus telling them what I can bring to the table, how I can change the organization, what skill sets am I bringing that other candidates may not be bringing. I was doing competitive research on their organization and other organizations, just thinking 2 steps ahead. So when you guys are interviewing, don't just bring your resume and tell them everything that you've done in the past, because they can read that. They read that, and that's why they called you. Tell them what you're going to bring to the organization.
So I'm going to share what I did for my job search. So first, I attended the career fairs. And that's how I landed my first job out of college. And I did that maybe 6 to 8 months even before graduating, because I just wanted to secure a full-time job, a salary, and things like that. And also during that time, the first 2 years, junior, senior year, of course I told you guys, I was making those connections with the hiring directors at the PR firms and PR agencies, making sure they knew my name, making sure they knew who I was, connecting with them on LinkedIn, and just really building those connections with anyone that you can that is in that position or that company where you want to be. I remember at an internship, I connected with a random person that was in a PR position at Weber Shandwick, and I was like, I heard you say Weber Shandwick, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I went up to him and just naturally, make conversation with them, not frantically about it, but just played it cool, oh, Weber Shandwick, so just make those genuine connections. And also, another thing I did was have my resume on almost every different hiring website there is. I had it on SU, I had it on Indeed, I had it on, I was not playing, because this is another thing. even though I had secured a full-time position with them at 1 month, I was like, no, this is not what I want. So every day after work, I was like applying for jobs, having interviews, and I'm like, why don't they want me? And these are PR firms. I'm like, and that's because I realized I had marketing internship experience and not really PR, so I kind of had to redirect the positions that I was applying for. And then even then, I was like, it was like 1 month, and I'm like, how come I'm like not getting these jobs? And that's where persistence come in. You be persistent, be patient, and follow up with them as well. If you've had the interview, make sure you're sending them a thank you email. You can even send them a thank you card if you like really want that job and you want to be there. And that just shows that you really want it and that you really care and that you really want to be there. And just be able to explain all that you are capable of bringing to that position as well, not just because you just want to be there because it's such an amazing company, which there are some PR firms that are like that. It's like, oh my gosh, they have a workout room, they have a meditation room, like I want to be here. No, but it has to be more like, okay, this is what the experience I have, this is what I can bring. I really love this company. I love that your mission, aligns with mine. I know before each interview, I would look up the company, look up who the person I was interviewing with, and just make those connections. And it could be something small, like, oh, I see that you like Target. I love Target too. Like, I love shopping there. It's like very small connections. And it could be cheesy, it could be cliche, but it's just showing that you actually took that time out to really understand who they are and learn more about the company as well.
I'm gonna add something in. Don't only just send a thank you email or a thank you letter. What I learned is like giving a call. Like, hey, I'm just following up. I'm just wanting to see where you guys are at in the selection process for this position. That goes great too, and we're all probably millennials in here, and we like to hide behind our phones and our computers. So give them a phone call. Stop by the office if it's a casual type of environment, and express that interest.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely set you apart. Is actually, making a phone call or showing up to an office, just because people are used to just, sending an email or a thank you card. But I like what you said, Trevon, and Melissa, you said this a little bit too about the whole, tell them what you will bring to the table. Because I haven't been on the other side of a ton of job interviews, but some, and it's not about this job will be perfect for me because there's a workout room or a meditation room. It's not about how the job is perfect for you. It's about here's what I can bring to you. They don't care why it's so good for you. They want to know why you can help them. So I think that whole idea of what skills can I bring to this job that are going to be different from other people interviewing, that's really going to make you stand out. Let's take a couple of more questions from the audience. Yes.
So my major is film and media studies. So sometimes I wonder what's the relationship between film and media, mass media. So my question is, when you were taking mass media major classes in undergrad or doing jobs or internships, did you find any relationship between mass media and film? And what's the relationship, do you think? And or do you think they are just two separate things? And it doesn't have to be like a film that we watch every day like in the cinema. It could be commercial videos, it could be clips, it could be TV shows or dramas or TV programs, anything. And if you have that kind of experience, like when you were working as media jobs in your career, and like you find a relationship with the film, did you ever use mass media to criticize the film, like those Rotten Tomatoes comments, like online?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's good. And for a little context, film and media studies is a fairly new major that we have here at MSU. I think it began in 2015, so some of you maybe already were gone or didn't even know that we had this at a time when a lot of you were here. It was a film minor. So if I think I understand the question right, relationship between media and film, and any way that you're using that, or have used that in your job, or even personally, like are you using your writing skills and thinking about film in that relationship at all?
Really great question, man. That's actually a really great thing to be thinking about as a student that's going to be joining the industry. I work at a university, and what we found out, film evokes emotion, and students, our prospective students, they connect with media in the form of video a lot more than a written email. So we try to incorporate a lot of video, whether that's the president of the university or we have current students on our campus speaking to prospective students, say, hey, welcome to Hamlin University. We really try to use video in that way, and I think video in this day and age it's part of everybody's mix, their media mix, and if it's not, it should be.
Film is needed. I wish I had more film experience for my own business brand. I'm gonna have to take the time to even get better at that myself or hire someone because it's a whole nother skill set. And even for Lifetime, film, video, that's how you tell a story better. That's how you are able to connect with people better. People connect with people. People connect with, we're emotional beings. And film is able to really tell that story. And that's what we're doing in Lifetime. Our videos, that's what really showcases what Lifetime is all about. It's not just about working out in the gym, and it's more so about taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, wanting your kids to be healthy, wanting a grandfather or grandmother who's getting older to still take care of themselves. And video has been the best way to really showcase that. And we, even at our at the agency and advertising agency, we need more help. There's not many people going into film, so it's the way to tell the story for any brand, any business. It's a great way.
Yeah, I would reiterate what she's saying. I mean, film is really needed with connected TV nowadays, Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, all having advertising. Maybe not Netflix, but we need more film people and talented people in the industry. I work in a full-service marketing agency. We work with our creatives every day to develop messaging and make sure we're reaching the right audience with that messaging, test different things, find new ways to use film and video. And I would say it's really important, and I don't think that you will have trouble finding your way in the mass media industry with it. But I will say that people have short attention spans and you want to get your message across really quickly.
I think from the sports realm, in my time with the Timberwolves and Lynx in 6 years, I bet we've probably tripled the amount of videos that we post. It used to be a lot, written content, and we're seeing more and more videos, which is great. And I think, if you look back at just sports videos in general, it's a huge way to tell a story. And it probably kicked off with, when ESPN started their 30 for 30 series, just kind of the documentary, the docu-series. And we've done more of that. And like for me in my career, I've started to help out with script writing for, films. And I'll tell you, they told me right away that I was horrible at it, and I was, because it's a totally different kind of writing, so it's a challenge. So that's something that I'm trying to dive into, but these guys probably have a better perspective on that.
Yeah, and at Memorial Blood Centers, how we kind of use video storytelling is by looking at blood recipients. And so having them tell their story of needing blood, or we have a huge fundraiser every year where we do a blood recipient and donor reunion where we have the donors meet their recipient of their blood. And so we do a video of that every year. And so we use that to kind of get people to evoke those emotions and get people to donate money sometimes or blood. And so that's a useful tool for us on social media because people can relate to that. Everyone knows someone that needed blood at some point. So that's a huge tool that we use at Memorial Blood Centers is blood recipients telling their stories of needing blood, or those donor recipient reunion stories.
Other audience questions? Yes, Elena.
How did you guys go about finding your internships and jobs? Because as a student, I feel completely lost and overwhelmed when I'm looking at those things.
What's a good place to look for internships and/or jobs?
On any job search site, there's a filter for internships. That's one resource. Otherwise, your professors usually know of internships either around the Mankato area or it might be in the city area. So just asking your professors is probably the best resource I can say that I've had. I found the radio station internship from having a broadcast media class with Jim Gullickson, and he said, I told him that I needed an internship for the summer, and he's like, why don't you come work for the radio station during the summer? And so that was a huge step for me, and so I would definitely say Professors is a good resource.
The Career Development Center is not too far away on campus. I would highly recommend going there, physically speaking with someone there. I actually interned in the CDC. There's tons of interns locally on campus, and they'll help you connect the dots and find one.
Nothing earth-shattering here, but I think just keep your eyes open for something that you're passionate about, and then kind of dig into it. I think that's kind of the only advice I have. I was lucky enough to get an internship right after with K-Fan Sports Radio, and then after with USA Today. So, it was about connections. So back to connections. I was helped out through those. But just try to find something you're passionate about. 'Cause if it is your first internship, you're going to want to do a really good job at it. So I think just find your passion.
I would say MSU's job board site. I don't remember the name of it anymore.
Well, now it's called Handshake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I changed it.
Interesting.
Handshake, yes.
Oh, go on Handshake, and they list all the internships. I think that's where I found my first one. That's where I found probably like my third one. And then the career fair is about where I found my second one. And then with Rachel class assignment, that's how I found another one as well. So interviewing someone, and he asked if I wanted to come back, and I was like, what can we make of this? And I was like, okay, a job interview, an internship, you kind of put yourself out there too to make those internships happen for yourself too as well. So just different job boards, wherever that may be, and the professors as well, and connections that you make.
Same thing as they all said. And if there's a company you're interested in, look at their website, and if there's no jobs or internships posted, reach out to that HR person and introduce yourself. And maybe there won't be an opportunity now, but you just put a bug in their ear for later. So.
And I'll add quick. There's 5 alums in the building today. We all probably have interns at our organizations. If you feel overwhelmed looking at all these websites, you can come connect with each of us. I'm sure if we have interns, we'd love to have MSU internship. If you, so connect with one of us and just get your name out there, and we'll gladly connect you.
We for sure want one of us.
Volunteering helps too. It serves kind of the same purpose, and you can ask for tasks that you might be interested in. They may or may not give it to you, but there's nothing wrong with asking. The worst they can say is no, and I would say just volunteering to get your foot in the door is a good way to start as well.
Yeah, I like Jessica's advice of thinking about a place where you would just love to work. Where would you just love to work? Checking their job section to see if they have internships, and if they don't take that as a no. Like actually physically talk to someone there and say, hey, because they might not always post it. Or like you said, maybe they don't now, but they plan to have an internship in 6 months or a year or something like that. So it's always, always, always worth asking a question of someone. Are there other questions from the audience?
I have a question for the audience, if that counts for anything. Right, show of hands, how many of you guys are seniors? You're seniors in the room? Okay, juniors? Okay, sophomores, freshmen. Okay. So there's a number of you guys that are going to be graduating pretty soon. I'd like to hear from some of you guys on where you guys see yourself going. Do you guys see yourself going in like a mass media direction, PR, like journalism? What direction? Marketing focus? Anybody back there? You guys haven't spoken very much.
I'm not sure, but I know I do want to go to grad school and figure it out from there, because like I'm mass media right now, but I'm also communications, but I think I want to do counseling. So I kind of want to further my education a bit while also gaining experience.
the internships will also give you experience to figure out which direction you want to be in. So maybe have an internship, in the mass media area, have an internship in the more communication-based area, and maybe have an internship doing counseling and seeing that gives you that real-world experience outside of the classes to see, which more am I really into?
Anyone else? Yes.
So I'm a member of URSSA, and originally when I was asked to be a major and comm studies major too. So I originally thought I wanted to go like traditional PR, but being a member of URSSA, like doing all the tours and stuff, it's kind of like pushed me maybe more towards like marketing. So
That's a good. I graduated with mass media and comp studies thinking I was going to go traditional PR, and I applied for what we call the Engage internship at Broadhead, and the description of the job was creatively written, so much so that I couldn't understand what it was saying I was going to do. So when I got in there, I kind of realized that it wasn't, I had talked to other people, kind of figured out that it wasn't really traditional PR. I would be using some of the skills I learned in my mass media classes, and it was going to be more strategically focused and less writing press releases, pitching media, etc. I remember asking in my interview, I don't have a marketing minor, much marketing class experience. Is that going to help me from getting a position? Or I don't know how I phrased it, something like that. And they were like, no, you present yourself well, you speak to your experience, just really being able to talk to what you've learned in school, the different classes you've had, the different experiences you've had, and connect that all to how you market to people. And I don't think you'll have any issue finding your way, and that's where, like we've all preached over and over again, internships. Those really help you figure out what you want to do, what you like, what you don't like, and I think that you'll find your way.
Yeah, Michael.
When I first got into mass media, I planned on going into broadcast journalism, but by the end of my intro to mass media class, my teacher got me really interested in newspaper journalism.
So that's where you're thinking.
Yeah.
Newspaper journalism. We like to hear that. There are still newspapers out there.
Yeah, and I touched on this a little earlier, but I think it's more than writing. Jace Frederick from the Pioneer Press, he's their Timberwolves beat writer. He said when he first started, he was just writing the article and sending it in, and now he's packaging the whole story, right? He's putting it on the website, grabbing the photo, picking out his headline, tagging it, figuring out what photos and videos to put in it. And that was the same when I was a freshman at the Reporter. I would just hand in here's my Word document, and it's changed so much. So I think just try to add so many skills that you can, and then in 10 years from now, there's gonna be so many other skills that you're gonna have to learn, but it's ever evolving.
Well, I think I want to wrap it up here just to respect your time. I know a lot of you are probably going to head back to the cities tonight. But I also want to leave some time after we wrap up with the panel, because you've talked, hey, come talk to us, connect with us. So I want to give the audience the opportunity to, talk to you a little bit too. But I do have one last question, and it is, what's next? So Lamar and I were talking a little bit about this, and I think one thing that has set apart kind of your generation from maybe my generation, though I've jumped into a lot of different jobs too, but there was a time where you got a job right out of college and that was your job. Like you are just gonna stay there for the rest of your life. My sister's a great example, and my brother-in-law, like they are in the same jobs they've had for 35 years now, that just doesn't happen anymore. So I'd imagine all of you are thinking, I might move on to something else. I'd really like to explore this. What is this for you next?
We're all racing for the mic, right?
Yeah.
In my career, and I'll say this really quick, you're never done kind of soul searching for what you want to do. I've been out of college for about 5 years, and I still question what I want to do and what I want to do next. However, I am geared toward starting my MBA next fall. I also, in like the next 2 to 3 years, I want to scale my small business up to be able to hire employees. I have a design firm. Right now it's just me kind of doing everything. And next for me is having employees and scaling my services and doing some strategy work as well.
His small design firm is amazing. So he's like really selling himself short because I see his work and it does really great work. But for me, what's next, like you said, like it's so interesting how the path that you're on after college, it changes. And it changes with experience. When I first got out of college, I just knew I wanted to have like a marketing firm and do marketing for small businesses. So I self-educated myself. The college experience was great, but like everything in marketing and in media, it changes. So you have to stay up to date. So I self-educated myself, took a 6-month course in social media marketing, and also it was got certified in Instagram, this and different things like that, because I wanted to be the best at social media marketing and digital marketing. And when doing that, I realized I didn't really like doing all this marketing for other a lot of different brands. So you kind of have to kind of specialize and have a little area that you really like working in. And what I realized is I only want to work with brands that I'm passionate about, that my goals align with theirs. So for Lifetime, I'm into healthy way of life and health and fitness, and that's what's really important to me. So that's why I'm at Lifetime, and also the brands that I do work with right now, they're in that same sector as well. I first wanted to build my own brand up, and that's what I'm currently doing. And then also after that, continue working with other brands that are in the same niche as mine, and that's health and fitness. So that's what's next for me, is just really building my own brand as well up and working with other businesses that are in that same niche, and that's health and fitness.
All of us know, I think, that working in mass media, it's a lot of people applying to very few jobs. And then when you work in the sports field, it's like divided by 30. So I'm very happy with where I'm at right now with the Timberwolves and Lynx, and my job has continued to go throughout the years, and as with all professions, I guess, in the media world. So I'm just really excited and happy to see kind of where that shifts.
Yeah, I feel very lucky to have landed where I did. The agency I work at is a very great place to start, and I've really been able to develop my own path and learn and grow a lot. And I was actually promoted as of May to a managerial, so I'll be supervising people below me, and that's something that I really am passionate about, as I worked as a supervisor of ACEs and working with kids and managing staff. I'm excited to be doing that, so I'll write that out for a while.
What's next for me is kind of figuring out how to pivot towards strategic public relations, trying to get more into politics. So moving towards that field, and then also on the side, creating my own content, being a producer of content for myself, whether it's podcasts or writing articles or things like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking into now, and finding that lane.
Well, it sounds like you're all just looking for that kind of dynamic environment, and some of you can find it where you're at right now, because your job like changes so much kind of day to day, or you're doing something so different day to day that makes it exciting, and others say, I can see myself leaving this particular situation and going outside to find kind of that dynamic change. But it's not a surprise to me that you're all looking for kind of that next challenge and that next thing that you're curious about, because you're all very exemplar examples of what we like to produce here in the mass media department. So thank you so much. It's been great to have you here. It's been great to reconnect. It was just my little plan to reconnect with my favorite students. Yes. But thank you. Let's give them a hand for the time today. And thanks to all of you. So I'm sure if they're available, I'm sure they'd be happy to touch base and give you more information that way.
Thank you.